Hey, what's going on? It is December, so I'd like to show you what I've accumulated throughout the month of November. And I have this stack separated by publisher. So let's get into it. First up, we have what I received through Comic Bento, which is the 5 monthly trade subscription. So we started with Kaiju Max, which is a prison for the kaiju, which is monitored by these guys here. Pretty good read so far. Next up, we have Third, the Barbarian. So I have not read through this one, but again, this artwork looked pretty good to me, so I love fantasy. Warlord of Mars. So this was part of an ongoing series from, I think that the guy escapes you now, but John whatever, they did that movie from the guy, but this one looked okay. Another fantasy type. This was the origin of Hulk is what this is, and again, haven't even opened this one, haven't read through this one, but still looked pretty good. This was a reprint from Champions, the original run, which was from, I think, 74 is what that was. I guess to complement the new Champions that was just let out now. Again, haven't read through any of this stack yet. I have a huge stack to get through before I even get to the stack that I have. But again, original artwork, it's reprinting from the original. Next, we get into the Marvel side, and we start off with the Amadeus Cho. So I'm just getting into the Totally Awesome Hulk, and this kind of is the origin stories, or maybe not origin stories, but the first few storylines that included Amadeus Cho, which I really love. I love his big egotistical, hey, I'm a super badass and get out of my way type of style. Love it. Next, we get into the Vision, and I got this older one just to complement this newer one here. And again, everyone really talked about this one here, saying, very emotional, made a lot of people cry. So I want to start off with this older run. I think this was by Jeff Johns, and just to get a little bit more background history on the Vision. I've never been too much of a fan of the Vision, to tell you the truth. I could never really connect to him, and it just didn't really, I don't know, just never really, my guy. I was more of an X-Men guy over a Avengers guy, but again, everyone really talked about this one. I mean, everyone talks this one up. This one did not interest me at all when it came out. However, I am also reading through the Champions, which I love, and of course, not her, but the daughter is in, a little risque there, but the daughter is in the new Champions run, so I want to see her background, what happened to her, and I really love Champions, the new run here by Marvel. Next we have Original Sin, and I'm aware of this one, the Watcher dies, someone stole his eyes. I saw someone post the storyline on YouTube. But, and of course, I'm reading through, let's see, this is done by Jason Aaron, who did the Unworthy Thor. And, I know this is where Nick Fury whispers into Thor's ear, and, he becomes unworthy. This is where he drops his hammer. And just now reading through Unworthy Thor. So I would like to read through the storyline myself, even though I know what the storyline is. And, second to that, I know that this Original Sins here is, a separate storyline from this one here, but still want to read through and kind of see what this one's about. I was able to get most of the single issues through a Black Friday haul that I had not too long ago for Original Sins, so let's see what that's about. Got this hardcover of All New X-Men, and this is by Michael Bendis, and this is, let's see, number 5. So I have 1, 2, so I have a couple gaps, but this one I think was only like $8 or something on in-stock trade, which is where most of these items came from, to tell you the truth. Then we get into the DC run, and start off with the Jeff Johns Flash run. So I have all 3 that I bought at one time to go through, and similar to what other people, I actually got into Flash. He was never really a favorite. I kept up with Justice League and, the cartoons, and that's where, what exposed me to Flash more than anything. But it was really when the TV show came out. They're in season 3 now. And, Flash, and I became a fan of Flash all of a sudden. So, I know Jeff Johns is the one who really rebooted him, got him to, a higher limelight status, so to speak. So let's see what happens. I've loved Jeff Johns, almost everything he's done so far. Green Lantern starting there. Next up we have Outsiders, and I got volume 1 through a Halloween special recommended by Jeremy over at 8th Dimension Comics. And I really love the storyline of the Outsiders, which is, I guess like the Teen Titans #2, I guess. And, the artwork could be better on this one, but the storyline is really, really good. Really enjoy it. Next up we have Space Ghost. So, very, very nostalgic. Grew up watching Space Ghost, including Space Ghost Coast to Coast after I got out of college. And this one here, looked like it had a pretty good artwork. And this has some backstory. I hear this is where he got his power bands from. And, let's see what happens. It's great to know that it came with good artwork. That just makes it so much better. Zombie Run. I'm still not done with zombies. I still love zombies. I'm not burned out of zombies whatsoever yet. And, so, never heard of this storyline, and just looking for something new, something to read on the side, so, cool. So this is really to kick off the Superman Rebirth, and again, everyone really talks about this one as well. I think this is where they introduce John, and I'm all over that Superman's, his son, or Super Sons, or whatever, coming out here in January. And so I'd like to see the backstory. I think I saw part of this on YouTube, but I'd like to read through myself, get some more detail, see what happens, see, get a little bit more connected to Superman, who I've never really been too much of a fan of. Batman, this was from that cartoon run, and I actually got this for my nephew for Christmas coming up. He really loved that cartoon show when it came out, so kind of got this for him. I was going to kind of read through it myself before I gave it to him, but yeah, hoping that has an interesting storyline. It's not too much for kids, it's my hope. Robin Moore, I think this was part of that in-stock trade sale that they had, which was like up to like 60% off. It was huge. So again, I'm getting into a lot of Batman storylines now. I know a lot of them through the through the animated side of things, and a lot of YouTube storylines that I saw. So yeah, interested to see what happens with Robin. This was one of those I would have never have picked up. I only really got it because it was on sale for like, I don't know, $4 or something like that. But, I'm trying to get into, I love that Trinity run that's coming out. And, I never really read Trinity Wars. And, that movie just, I'll just say it sucked that came out. But, yeah, would like to see, actual storyline that came from the comic between Batman and Superman. I love their dynamics that they have. Super friendship, I guess you could say. So this multiversity, I love anything with, alternate universes, timelines, all the DC Crisis type of events. Love it. So, this was the same, talking about the multiverse side of things. So, yeah, we'll see what happens here. I love most of the items from Grant Morrison. Not everything, but most of the items. Alright, up next we have part of the Vertigo run, which is, I guess, a subset of DC. But this was Get Hero. This looked pretty good storyline. I could see this being like a movie, like a fast-paced action movie. So it had pretty decent artwork, and I guess kind of like a mob. Happens in one night. This around the city chase type of event. So that usually interests my. I love the quick-paced action type comics as well on the side. So yeah, looking forward to this one. Similar to that one, just a different storyline. Never heard too much about this one here. But, I think this is kind of like a limitless type of deal, to where, he's taking these prescription drugs and there's some side effects. And this one sounded pretty good storyline. I never really heard anyone recommend this. I never heard anyone talk about this one, but yeah, looked pretty good to me. So looking forward to reading that storyline there. I recall a couple of people recommending this one when it first came out, and this one here had some pretty decent artwork, and I love things about aliens, superpowers, things like that, and this one lended itself towards that genre. So yeah, this one was another one that was pretty much on sale, so I want to try to get some more storylines in there that I've never heard of. So next up we get into some Dark Horse side, and again, this was one that was on sale and looked pretty good. And I've never really figured out why these smaller ones come out. They're not really labeled to be the smaller type, and I don't even know what these are called. I guess if someone could comment and let me know what these smaller books are called compared to the to these bigger style ones. I'm not really sure why, but anyways, this one looked like it had pretty good artwork and good storyline. This is kind of like a sci-fi, action, I guess Guardians of the Galaxy type of feel to it. And I never heard of this one at all. No one's ever talked about this one. Looked pretty good to me. So again, I got volume 1, 2, 3, and I'd like to try that one out. Looked pretty good to me. I think that run is over to my knowledge. Get into Echoes, and this one came out just about 2 weeks ago now. So this one looked like it had a pretty good storyline. I guess some deeper issues here with abuse and things of that nature, and kind of what happens to the child growing up. But this one looked pretty interesting to me as well. Yeah. Another one that was on sale, I think this one was real cheap, like $3, because I would not have gotten otherwise. But another new superhero type of storyline, and this artwork's not too great, but any type of new superhero type of storyline, I get burned out of the big major stuff, but I like new things to kind of spice it up a little bit. Same thing here, we have Paybacks, and so I never really heard too much about this one. The synopsis got me on this one. Looked pretty decent. Another one that was on sale that would have normally have passed up, but hey, I think again, most of these were only like $8, between $5 to $8. Finished off the Dark Horse run. We get into Harrow County, and let's see, this one is number 1. Yep. So I got 1 through 3. This is one that a lot of people talk about. The artwork looked pretty. I usually stay away from the brush type artwork, but for horror and a couple storylines, I'm willing to accept it, because it kind of, that style lends itself more to that type of storyline. So I don't like to see this artwork on, superhero type of storylines. I like detailed artwork on superhero type of storylines. But yeah, I'm really interested in this one. I love horror, a lot of horror movies, and I like to see other storylines that are out there, especially storylines that are hard to translate to the big screen. So yeah, love it. Okay, so next up we get into a few of the Night of the Living Dead, and this is from Avatar, who I've never even heard of that publisher, to tell you the truth. I think it's the only thing I have by Avatar. This is actually a continuation of the original storyline that came out in the original movie that came out in the 60s. However, this is in color and pretty detailed. I love zombies, and it's been a while. Other than Walking Dead, we've gotten away from a lot of the traditional, slow walking type of zombies, and I'd like to kind of get back to that, outside of Walking Dead. So yeah, this one looked pretty interesting, and I love that original movie, to tell you the truth. So yeah, again, anything with zombies, especially the original type of zombies, I'm looking forward to. Alright, we get into Two Guns, and I saw this movie. This is the one with Marky Mark and whoever the other guy was. So I knew it was an adaptation of a comic, and it's like a real quick-paced action type of movie with a lot of twists to it, and a lot of character development. So if the movie was that great, I'd love to read through the original storyline of the comic, which is typically going to be better. Next up we get into, let's see, I got 2 volumes of this one. So, again, I love, fantasy, not too much. I love superhero more than fantasy, but I love fantasy storylines to kind of fill in, some of the side time, get refreshed from the traditional superheroes with superpowers and some of the other bigger titles out there. So this one looked like it had pretty decent artwork, and never really heard anyone talk about this one. So I think that one has up to like 6 volumes out. So I'll see the first 2, see if I want to continue on. This was another zombie, and I guess more of a untraditional zombie storyline, just in reading the synopsis. Because I think in this one, I think you're a zombie. So again, still not burned out of zombie storylines. This artwork isn't that great on this one. So I'm hoping the storyline will supersede that, or overcome the weaker artwork. Saviors. So again, this was one that was on sale. I think I would have passed it up otherwise. I passed up the single issues, and looked just okay. I'm not really into black and white artwork too much, but the storyline seemed like it was kind of grabbed me. But I don't know. I'll read this one open-minded, and we'll see what happens here. Next up, we have Huck by Mark Miller, and I think a couple people have this one that I've seen like in their collections, but they never really talk about it. The synopsis looked pretty good on this one, is what got me on this one as well. Never really heard about it. No one really talked about this one. I think he has superpowers. I think some people know, some people don't. So yeah, another fresh superhero type of storyline. I forgot I got this one. So this one, is not associated with that new TV show that came out. This was kind of in between. But this is, I think the original, MacGyver, and just kind of like another continued storyline, and which I love. I grew up with MacGyver. I thought he was awesome because his superpower was his intelligence. But yeah, not expecting too much of this one, but am looking forward to reading through it. So this one I passed up on the single issues, but the artwork looked pretty good to me, and I love a lot of comedy. I love quirky stuff. Again, I have a tolerance for the amount of zaniness and quirkiness, but this artwork looked pretty decent, and it looked pretty funny to me. So I want to read this one, see what it's like, and see if I want to continue on. One I've never heard of, America's Got Powers, and we'll see what happens with the storyline. This one here, I guess the people who do have superpowers are kind of put up for entertainment purposes. They put them on TV shows, I guess documentary type styles, and yeah, I guess a good concept, and we'll see if the storyline actually, holds my interest, beyond that original concept. Next up, we have Chronauts. And again, I love anything with timelines, alterations, storylines, like Flashpoint type of genre. And these two guys kind of go throughout time. Various things happen, and I don't know if they create alternate timelines or what happens, but yeah, just anyone kind of traveling through time. I've always kind of loved those genres. Again, this was kind of like a separate, superhero storyline that's not tied to anything else, kind of like a standalone. And, synopsis of this one looked pretty good. This universe, has superheroes, and I think it's like a cusp is about to happen here. But, yeah, we'll read through this one and see what happens. I think this cover it got me more than anything else, to tell you the truth, about this one. But this artwork on the inside isn't really it's okay, but just different storyline, had a little bit of a fantasy feel to it. So I want to check this one out and see what it's like. Undertow. Wildfire. So I think the synopsis included, I think they're trying to find some, miracle grow cure for, to sustain human consumption for plants, and, things go bad. So I love sci-fi and anything that has to do with evolution and things of that nature. So that looked interesting to me. We'll see what happens. This one came out not too long ago. The storyline, I guess, a little bit different. Superhero. He has superpowers, but he's in the Amazon, and I think it's kind of one of those either corporate guys are coming in, or something's going on down the Amazon, and he's oh, that's right. This is when the conquistadors first come in. So yeah, this one looked pretty good to me. This is like a superhero, back in the day, and the artwork looked really, really good to me. I like this artwork. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to read this one, Brutal Nature. And that one's by IDW. All right, next up we have, let's see, we have Dynamite. And this is the only Dynamite that I got. And, Robotech versus Voltron. So I love the nostalgic side of things. And, this is one that I grew up with both of these. This is one that I watched every morning when when I woke up before school. I think it started like at 7:30 or so. But, yeah. Looking forward to see what type of storyline they could actually cross into these two, because I don't see how that could possibly happen. So next up we have the only one from Oni, and this one here, The Bunker. This one crosses over a couple different genres that I like. They find the secret room that has these letters. This group of people find the secret room that has these letters from the future from themselves. So again, anything with alternate storyline or alternate timelines. And the person who wrote the storyline was actually the same guy who did Luther Strode, which is, again, one of my most favorite superhero storylines ever. So, I give credit to my buddy Dave, who turned me on to this one. We'll see what happens here. So I'm looking forward to reading the storyline. Next up from, let's see, this one is from Titan Comics, and no one's really talked about this one too much. The synopsis is what got me, and then I went online to go look at the artwork, which I really, really liked. So this one here is kind of like, a mutant world to where they have superpowers, but this is a lot darker, and I guess you could tell by the artwork how dark it is. And again, this is super team of, heroes, I think, government type stuff, just like the X-Men, but more of a darker side. And I, kind of flipped through some of the, read through, I guess, a quarter of this so far. Really enjoyed it so far. I want to see how this one ends, but I really would recommend this one for anyone who likes mutants or, superpower type of storylines. Really good so far. Then we get into Valiant, and again, I started with Faith, but more on the monthly run. This is volume 1 trade paperback, which included like a mini series. It was either 5 issue, I think like 0, 1 through 4, that started Faith out, or I guess, a prequel to her monthly series, which I have been reading. So yeah, would like to see a little bit more history on her. I really like her, different style of superhero, female, emotional, and really stay away from these in general. But that the monthly series got to me. So next we have, continue on with that, is the Harbinger Renegades, and this is, I'm reading the new Renegades, and they mention the previous team up, and I guess some members that they lost along the way. So I'm trying to, again, just get back into the Harbinger side and trying to get into the backfill some of the storyline that I'm unaware of. So yeah, really looking forward to reading through this one. To finish it off, we have Archer and Armstrong, and someone over at, sorry I don't know his name, but someone over at Bedrock Comics had recommended this one to me, and I heard it was pretty good storyline from some other people, and it doesn't get too much publicity, but kind of a different storyline with some humor in there, adult humor, and I look forward to those type of storylines. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. And I think that they are harbingers. I think that they both have powers, to my knowledge. Even if they don't, the comedy will carry it for me. So yeah, that's it for this month. I really appreciate y'all watching, and look forward to next month, and we'll see what I collect for this month going into next. We'll see you next time. Thank you.